We are here live. Here we are live at the beautiful Toronto Distillery Winter Village. It is a gorgeous scene behind us.
Yes.
This is our live stream. It is our winter forecast. I'm Kim MacDonald. Chris Murphy is here too. And you know, this season we're saying, don't react, own it. Own winter, Chris.
I like that. I like the optimism.
I do.
The enthusiasm. It's like the world is our oyster. We're going to take it
We're
on.
just gonna grab it by the tail and slide all the way home on the ice. That is what we're doing. We're going to be unveiling the winter forecast throughout the program, all brought to you by Mitsubishi.
Absolutely. And we're also going to be talking with our bureaus who are right across the country. We are going to be, trying to figure out with our team of meteorologists to get you ready and dive into your regional forecast. Nadine is going to join us with live from headquarters to answer your most pressing weather questions. And you can do so in the comment section if you are joining the live stream from YouTube.
We also have some giveaways. We've been talking a lot about this gorgeous distillery winter village, and if you're in the Toronto area or you're coming here, you can experience it as well, because during this live stream we'll be giving away some family passes. Michael Van, our reporter on the street, will be giving them away live, and I will be giving them away on X. So if you answered my question, what is your favorite winter activity, you could be our lucky winner later in the show.
But I can't win this prize because I answered it, but I'm excluded from winning.
You've been here all morning, Chris.
I know. I've had a lot of opportunities. All right, well, without further ado, then, let's look at your national forecast now with meteorologist Kevin McKay.
When we want to see what the winter is going to be like, we have to look at the Pacific Ocean. And when we see that we're in a weak La Nina pattern, that gives us a little insight as to what pattern we'd expect over North America. And this is kind of the default cookie cutter setting for a La Nina pattern. Now, when we add in our little nuances and adjustments, we can come out with a pretty confident forecast for the first half of winter. Certainly for December, looking pretty below normal for the majority of the country. Now the question is, does this pattern hold through January, or do we get a flop? And then as La Nina weekends, we could see that transition back to a more mild flow for the eastern half of the country. Now in terms of snowfall and rainfall, what are we in store for? Well, when you get that cold air spilling into central Canada, you're going to get a storm track along the east coast. So a lot of that moisture coming up from the Gulf and the Atlantic to the lower Great Lakes. But will it be falling as rain or snow? Well, that depends on about a couple 100-kilometer variance in that storm track. If that storm track slides a little further south, we could be looking at some above normal snowfall for the GTA.
Okay, thank you to Kevin McKay for that national forecast. Nice little overview of what the entire country can expect. It looks like a little colder, a little snowier. If you like a traditional winter, this is the one for you. We are going to go to Nathan Coleman, who doesn't shy away from any kind of weather. He is our reporter in Halifax. And, you know, the thing that people really know about Nathan is that they can count on him for a hack that they can use, Chris.
He is the modern day red green. Absolutely. And Nathan, I believe you've got a couple of helpful tips for us right now. I can't wait to see what you've concocted.
So he said, my windshields just keep squeaking every time, and he brought me over to his vehicle. I listened to it, and I didn't know the solution, but of course I Googled it, I looked it up online, and to stop the squeak, what happens is dirt and salt in the winter can get built up on your blades, and that's going to cause it to squeak when you hear that noise. Even if you get new ones, you can still get that buildup. So I discovered a new concoction. You got half water and then half vinegar, which I enjoy on the fish and chips out here, of course, so I don't want to waste any. And you put that into a spray bottle, And you can just spray that onto a rag here. There we go. And wipe down your blades. So that's going to get rid of that salt and dirt, and you won't hear that squeak again. So that's one way to do it. If you hear the squeak, vinegar's the solution.
I love it.
I know.
See, so simple and yet so ingenious. As that's Nathan Coleman right there. Just always love these hacks.
He's a simple genius.
He's a simple genius, but at the same time, and so Nate, thank you very much. We'll talk to you. So now we want to find out, what does the regional forecast for Atlantic Canada hold?
Yeah, let's go back to Nathan for a second,
Okay.
because I don't think he's done yet.
Oh, he's
Chris.
got another one.
I think we've got more in store. We've unleashed the beast. Okay, come on, Nathan. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, you got 2 for the price of 1 here. I've got my quarter. Now, you don't use change much anymore with your debit card, but a quarter still comes in handy. You've got the classic Caribou on here. And this is relevant because when you've got your winter tires, you can take your quarter and place it into the tread of your winter tire, and you look at how much space there is between the nose of the Caribou and the tire. And if your nose goes down into the tread of the tire, that means you've got lots of good tread left. You're okay. You can keep those winter tires, but if you can still see that nose, then you may need to get some new winter tires there. And they are essential here in Canada for winter driving. I know 80% of Canadians use them now, which numbers are way up from 68%. So that's good news, but use the Caribou and it will guide you.
How about that? I did not know that, Kim.
Who carries quarters anymore, Chris?
Well,
We're going to have to find some.
we'll have to start doing that.
Thank you, Nathan. Such great information always.
All right, well, let's find out those winter tires. They're always going to come in handy. We know that across Atlantic Canada, but will it be snow? Will it be a messy mix? Let's find out your regional forecast of what the winter holds for you.
It is time for your winter forecast, and the headline is an encore to winter. But for Atlantic Canada, we can be expecting to see above seasonal temperatures through the immediate coastlines thanks to the warmer sea surface temperatures of the Atlantic. In terms of precipitation, however, near normal is expected, but that does not mean in the form of snowfall. When we do take a look at the storm track, we can be looking at multiple different types of storms, nor'easters, blizzards even possible. But along the immediate shorelines of Atlantic Canada, the warmer sea surface temperatures of the Atlantic can be leading to more warm air infiltrating, meaning more mixed and messy precipitation leading to below normal snowfall for portions of Nova Scotia and the eastern end of Newfoundland. But nonetheless, winter will definitely still show up, but it depends on how and what type of wintry weather we would be getting. More likely or not, Nova Scotia and Newfoundland will be seeing more of that freezing rain, and maybe even some snow, but it will not be an abundance of snowfall.
Well, it sounds a bit like a typical winter in Atlantic Canada. A wintry mix is often what we see. So it all will depend on the storm track, and you and I will be paying close attention to that as the winter season continues. You know, a province that really embraces winter, as we know, is Quebec. There are so many wonderful things to do there, and who better to talk about it than our reporter in Quebec, Patrick Dibelfoy.
Are you planning some time off for the winter? I suggest you come to Quebec. We have this famous Quebec Carnaval happening in Quebec City, and at the same time we have one in Montreal called La Fête des Neiges. Both are family oriented and they'll make you fall in love with winter all over again. You like skiing? In this province there's over 70 ski resorts, from the height of Mont Saint-Anne to le Massif du Sud, where 3/4 of the run are in the woods where you ski in fluffy snow up to your knees. And of course the season finishes in Montreal with Montréal en Lumière. This festival is very particular. It's oriented around gastronomy, around gourmet food. You can't miss it. Come, we'd love to see you.
All right, Patrick Dibelfoy, look dapper as always. And if the forecast for Quebec, because there's so many activities to do, whether it's skiing, whether it's meeting up with bonhomme, whatever the case may be.
I want to meet up with bonhomme.
Yeah, well, the Quebec Festival is the Winter Carnival is one of the biggest events in the world, winter festivals in the world. Let's find out what kind of winter is in store for La Belle Province.
Quebec, your winter forecast is here, and we're going to be tracking an active storm track for this winter season as cold air collides with warm air that'll be tracking up towards the north. This means we'll be looking at above normal precipitation for much of southern Quebec, and it could come in multiple different types of precipitation, but especially snowfall from Gatineau all the way into Saguenay. For this winter season, it's going to be a great start to the ski season. We're also going to be watching a sudden stratospheric warming event unfolding. This means a disruption in the polar vortex, bringing colder air down towards the south. So we're going to be looking at below normal conditions for much of southern and western Quebec in terms of temperatures. Meanwhile, eastern and northern sections will be trending around near normal. But for the second half of the season, if that blocking pattern fades, we could be looking at above seasonal temperatures for much of eastern Canada. So we're definitely going to keep our eyes on this. Overall, though, it's going to be a strong start off to the winter season. Colder than normal temperatures for most, near or above normal snowfall, and a higher chance for snow on the ground for the holiday season.
Thank you to Melinda Singh for that. We're going to bring back in Nadine Powell. I say back in because we were chatting with her all morning, but this is her first time in the live stream. You know, people have questions about summer, but they really have questions about winter, Nadine. And I know our viewers are chomping at the bit. They want answers, and we're going to put that responsibility on you. How do you feel about it?
A little bit nervous, but I'll try my best. And you know what? Winter is a season where lots of people fret about it. They're nervous about driving, but it's also a season that lots of folks embrace. And that's what we are encouraging folks to do. And they take advantage of all of what Mother Nature has to offer. So one of the burning questions that we have been seeing quite a bit, will there be snow on the ski hills for the holiday period? Well, you know what? Two things you need for snow. You need cold and you need moisture. And as we take a look at our temperature forecast for the season, December, January, February, certainly to kick off the season, we are looking at a large chunk of the country, essentially from interior BC into Quebec, where we are seeing below normal temperatures for us. So we are definitely on the right side when it comes to at least fostering that snowfall. Now, the moisture part comes in for us where we are seeing the potential for us across interior BC, southern Alberta, southwest Saskatchewan, above normal snowfall. Meanwhile, as we head into parts of Ontario, so say through central Ontario, around the shores of the central Great Lakes and into Quebec, perhaps we are looking at above normal in terms of that snowfall. So already we know that some of those ski hills and those resorts are open in parts of BC, and leading into the holiday period for us, of course, many of them will be opening up. Now into Ontario, a lake effect is a good driver of some of the snowfall, those slopes south of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay. And certainly we've seen one episode already and we're getting into that, and that'll be a driving force to perhaps bring us some above normal snowfall. As we head into Quebec, we are looking at through Mont Tremblant, the Laurentians, with cold air pushing in and perhaps an active storm track. We could be looking at some above normal snowfall. So the ski season should be good there. Meanwhile, Atlantic Canada, it's a bit iffy because temperatures may trend a bit on the warmer side. So those storms moving into the area perhaps might not bring as much snowfall as we would like for the slopes. But let's pause that for just a bit. And we head on out to our Michael Van. Michael, I understand you are spreading some early Christmas cheer.
Absolutely, and I can't think of a better place to spread some great Christmas cheer than right here at Toronto's Distillery District. There's so much going on down here, but I can tell you, I'm going to give you a little preview of our winter forecast. Have a look right here at the new train that runs around the tree here. I have a feeling this is what a lot of Canada is going to look like, a nice classic Christmas. Now, but before we get to Christmas, I have someone here who has come to join me for a chance to win some tickets, some passes to the Distillery District. Andrea, how are you this morning?
I'm very good, thank you.
Excellent. So what's your favorite part about Christmas?
The decorations and the lights.
So I'm sure this is a bit overwhelming for you if you really love decorations and lights,
It's
right?
amazing. It's amazing. It's probably one of my most favorite places to come at Christmas time.
Excellent. So, Andrea, I've got a trivia question for you for that chance to win. You ready for this?
Okay.
Okay, true or false? Meteorological winter and astronomical winter are the same thing.
I'm going to say false.
You are a genius. You're absolutely right. They are not the same. They start at different times. Meteorological winter starts on December 1st. So yeah, and then astronomical winter does start a little bit later. So you've got those tickets, you've got those passes.
Yay.
What do you think you're looking forward to the most?
I heard there's some really good hot chocolate somewhere here. I got to find that.
Absolutely. I have had all of the hot chocolates here. I cannot recommend any of them enough. They are phenomenal. Something you're going to want to definitely keep in hand throughout this winter season is going to be that hot chocolate because it is going to be cold. Let's get a look at your Ontario forecast for this winter.
We are loading your winter forecast for Ontario, and it includes below seasonal temperatures across a large swath of the province. So take it in. It is going to be a cold start, especially through December and through midwinter. We're confident about that, but we could, through the latter part of winter, tip to be above seasonal or stay below. So that will be much clearer as the season goes on. Confident too, though, that we're going to see this active storm track slicing through the Great Lakes. So that puts you at above normal for precipitation, which includes rain and snow. And speaking of snow, we have a favorable pattern for a lot of lake effect snow with the cold air plunging south. So how about this? Above normal for snowfall. That's to be expected for this winter season, including cities like London, Hamilton, and Toronto. So the recap is an abrupt start to winter in December, especially colder than normal for most, near normal or above normal for snow, and a higher chance for snow on the ground for the holiday season. I forgot to mention that off the top.
So, Kim, I think I have mixed emotions about this one. I'm glad that there's going to be a better chance for a white Christmas.
Sure.
I'm a fan of the white Christmas. I don't know if I like the frequent and abundant and prolonged periods of lake effect snow, though.
No, imagine if you lived in ski country, the snow belt. It's great to ski,
Absolutely.
but you need to get there.
Correct.
That's the thing. So
All right.
have a snowblower this winter is what we're suggesting.
Well, you know who always helps you get from point A to point B is Nadine Powell with her wisdom and her meteorological savvy. And I know, Nadine, that you have been taking some questions now. One of the things that you're going to be talking about is the polar vortex and La Nina. And of course, Kim and I, all through the winter forecast through the morning, we've been talking about, them being this notorious couple.
The notorious couple. They're up to no good, Nadine. Let's talk a little bit about the two of them combined this winter.
Perhaps not notorious, but Chris and Kim, lovable winter forecast couple. Yeah, so let's get into another one of those questions that have come in from our viewers. So, will winter show up later in the season or earlier? Well, I think it's safe to say for us that we are expecting, because of the drivers, especially for December, so earlier in the season, a strong start to winter, hitting the ground running. One of the things that we've got in place, that weak La Nina in the Pacific, and perhaps a displacement of that polar vortex. So what does that mean? Well, typically when we are in a La Nina, and this is just a typical scenario, we tend to get wetter than normal, cold conditions for us as we skip into the prairies, and we see that dip in the jet stream there for us that brings down that colder air. When we get the displacement of that polar vortex, that weakening, we get a lot of that cold air sinking south, and that's where we get into our cold spells. And we see that potential certainly there for us, especially for the earlier part of the season. So you can see there with that polar vortex, we do anticipate that we could be looking at this colder than normal scenario with that dip in the jet stream sticking around for us, at least bring us a traditional winter for us. So one of the questions that we'll probably get into a bit, certainly as the season progresses through December, will we see a white Christmas? Now, it is still too early to tell, But of course, Dr. Doug was saying that with the potential for colder than normal over a large chunk of the country, as well as some active storms moving through, there is that potential that many of us are tipping on the potential for, yes, it being a white Christmas. But certainly come back and we will answer that question as the season progresses. Kim?
Thanks, Nadine. Yeah, she makes the whole winter sound like it's full of possibilities.
Yes, I know.
You know, we were giving away family passes to the incredible Distillery Winter Village, and I asked on X a little bit earlier, I'm like, you know, what is your favorite thing about winter? Because we're trying to embrace winter as a society.
Yes.
It's with us for a while. So I had a lot of great answers, but this is the one that I chose, and it is CatMom55, K-A-T, CatMom55, who said, I love how winter brings family and friends together, enjoying the seasonal food and drinks.
Great answer. Honestly, it's true. A lot of family gatherings, a lot of friends, whether it's over food or social events, and you know what? A fitting winner right there.
Yes, and Kat, you can come here, enjoy the seasonal foods and the drinks, and bring your family.
That's it. Absolutely, combining everything. Okay, well, we also have, we're continuing our cross-country regional forecast. Well, let's go to the north, because we know that in the north, our winter arrives there first. Yep. Often it's the last place to leave is in the north as well.
That's right.
But let's find out temperature and precipitation-wise what we can expect.
Northern Canada, here's a look at your winter forecast. For early winter, we're going to be tracking below seasonal temperatures right across the country. But it's going to be a different story as we head into northern Nunavut. We're going to be looking at above normal temperatures, near normal for the south regions of the Northwestern Territories and the Yukon. But we're going to be tracking a sudden stratospheric warming event unfolding. Now, what does this mean? Well, it means a disruption in the polar vortex, which will be sending colder air down towards the south into much of the country. But when it comes to snowfall, we're going to be tracking near normal for much of northern Canada, with the exception of southern parts of the Yukon. You'll be tracking below normal with a potential ridge that could be setting up over the Gulf of Alaska. Overall, though, temperatures will be staying near normal for much of northern Canada. A reduced risk of severely cold weather for the far north. Snowfall will remain near normal for most, but there is going to be changeable pattern with a risk of windy and ground blizzard conditions.
Thank you, Melinda Singh, for that look at Canada's north. Now we are going to go to our Calgary reporter, Connor O'Donovan, who's doing something truly Canadian in Bonus Park. That's B-O-W-N-E-S-S, Bonus Park, where you can go wild skating. Little different from the neighborhood rink. This is outdoors, and he's having a blast. Here's some do's and don'ts with Connor O'Donovan.
When I think of embracing winter on the prairies, particularly here in Alberta, I think of pond, lake, and ice skating. But to do that, you need to make sure that the ice you're skating on is actually thick enough to support you. So let's talk about that. I've got a block of ice here I made with the help of a cooler and my freezer. And you know what? We're going to look for about 20 centimeters of depth. Now that's the Canadian Red Cross recommendation. They say that depth is actually adequate enough to support a group of skaters, and it's also a good indication that the entire ice surface that you're skating on is safe for skating. So to do this, I'm going to use something called an ice screw, which you can find at most outdoors and recreational stores. This one's about 21 centimeters long. Now, these aren't typically marked with measurements, but you can do that yourself using something like black nail polish to give you a better idea of how deep into the ice you're going. And look, you're simply going to turn it into the ice until it bites, and then keep turning it until you no longer see ice coming out of this tube. You might hit water, you might not hit water at all, but again, you're trying to hit that 20 centimeter mark. Now, remember, it's still a good idea to test the ice in multiple locations because ice does freeze unevenly. And a few more safety tips: always skate with a partner, bring safety equipment, including rope, dry clothing, and blankets. Now, you can also skate with a wetsuit and a life jacket, but prevention is key here. Always ensure that the ice you're skating on is thick enough. Another quick tip for the big mountain lakes, like the ones you'll find in the Rockies, there's an ideal time to go. You want to go after they're frozen, but before there's been enough snow build up to cover the ice. That's typically mid to late December, even early January. Or you can just enjoy beautiful maintained ice surfaces like this in Bonnes Park here in Calgary all winter long. It's set to open in December.
All right, bringing props and coming prepared. That's Connor O'Donovan right there.
Love it.
And you've got to be, because the difference between safe ice and unsafe ice is huge. All right, well, let's find out if there'll be lots of opportunities to go wild skating or skiing or whatever activity you may desire. Let's take a look at the forecast across the prairies this winter.
Well, winter is going to hit the ground running, and we could be seeing more scenes like this across the region as we head through December, January, and February. The pattern calls for colder than normal temperatures for us through Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. But what does that mean when we compare it to normal? Well, the average maximum temperature trend here is seen, showing temperatures bottoming out in January with minus double digits, for instance, through Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Now, we are expecting southern Alberta, southern Saskatchewan above normal precipitation with near normal elsewhere. And what that means with cold temperatures or colder than normal is that we could be looking at above normal snowfall for us through Alberta and through Saskatchewan. And this could mean a good start to the ski season for us, especially into the Rockies in Alberta. We could be looking at periods of severe cold interspersed with milder stretches in the west, as perhaps the second half of winter looks to be a bit on the fickle side. And that could mean the potential for a delayed start to spring.
I don't know why fickle winter sounds better than cold winter.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Neither one of them sound great, but I think fickle is the better of the two. If you don't want it too cold for too long.
Yeah.
We do want it cold a little bit of the time,
Sure.
but if we get a break, I think that's okay too. You know who doesn't need a break? Is Michael Van, because he is inside the Distillery Winter Village right now, and he could be there all day long. Michael, tell us a little bit about what you're seeing and we've enjoyed a little bit of it in the early morning hours, but tell us a little more about what's going on.
You know what, Kim, you're not wrong when you say that I could be here all day long, because there is so much to see and do here. It's almost overwhelming. But what makes it special is that, each year they keep bringing more stuff, new things. And so each year you can come back and experience something new. Now, what I'm experiencing right now, you guys have got a sweet ride out there. You've got our Mitsubishi all-weather vehicle. But what I've got in here is Santa's sleigh. Wanted to give this a try. Listen, we get to experience all kinds of winter weather in that Mitsubishi from here on the ground, but I just wanted to kind of get an idea and see what it would be like to fly up in the sky, above the clouds, above that weather. But unfortunately, my reindeer friends here are not being very helpful this morning. They're just kind of solid on the ground here. So I don't know. We'll give it a go later on, I think. So one of the things that you definitely can do here at the Winter Village, I want to make sure that we take a moment to mention, is go and see all those local vendors. And it doesn't matter where you are across Canada, there are local vendors that are going to be able to provide you those unique Christmas gifts, really unique ways to get those small businesses involved. I'm sure you guys do that as well, right?
I really like that. Shopping local, buying Canadian, and I got to tell you something. Michael looked pretty good in the Santa sleigh right there.
I know.
And yeah.
See you Christmas Eve, Michael.
That's it. I thought it was going to go airborne at any moment, to be perfectly honest. All right, we've been continuing our regional and national trek across the country in terms of our forecast. Let's go to British Columbia now and find out what kind of winter you may see.
It's time for your winter forecast, and the headline is that winter is doing an encore. For British Columbia, in terms of temperatures, near normal to below normal temperatures expected, thanks to more of those Arctic outbreaks that can push more cold air from the interior into the coastline. But when we are talking about precipitation, the Kootenays will be looking at above normal precipitation, whereas the coastline may see near normal thanks to a ridging pattern that will build on in. That will cause a lot more of the moisture to drive from the states up towards the Kootenays, translating to more abundance of snowfall across the ski hills along the Kootenays comparative to the south coast. However, we will continue to see more of those cooler temperatures for the south coast, so artificial snow and the snow machines will still be useful. Nonetheless, we will be looking at more of a fickle precipitation pattern across the BC coastline, whereas the eastern portion will see an abundance of snowfall, but nonetheless, winter is definitely showing up.
Right, thank you very much, Rhythm. And it does one thing. We think fewer Pineapple Express this year, and that's a good thing because a Pineapple Express can wipe out a snowpack just like that.
Yep.
Okay, so there's been your national forecast region by region, but we've got Nadine Powell back here. And Nadine, question here, the blocking pattern, I believe. You've got a question about the length of winter, and I think a lot of us want to know, because Camille and I were talking earlier, we're okay with a strong start to winter.
We are.
It's that finish.
The finish is rough. The finish is rough. It's like, you know, if you're having an entire pizza, the first few slices, amazing.
Yes.
You get to that last slice, it's a little slower, Nadine.
It's hard to go down.
It's hard to go down.
Let me unbuckle my pants just a bit. Yeah. So getting to that question, a couple more questions we're going to get to for our viewers. So as you were saying, will the winter cold last into the spring? And of course, that all depends on what the pattern will be doing. So one of the things we're looking at, the blocking pattern for us over Alaska, for instance. So a lot of the times that helps to drive some cold air for us into the Rockies, that outflow, but it can also spill colder air for us on the east side. And we do see scenario one where if it does hold, we get that cold still for us across a large chunk of the central portions of the country. So essentially from the East Rockies all the way toward the Maritimes for us. So that's scenario one. But like you've been hearing all throughout the show today, the second half of winter could be a little bit on the fickle side. And if that occurs, this could be the dominant pattern leading into the second half of winter, where we get a relaxation of that cold across essentially the Great Lakes, Quebec, and into Atlantic Canada. And we see the cold really persisting for us across Western Canada, pushing into interior sections of BC from the prairies. And this could have impacts to the growing season as we get going into spring. So we'll watch to see how that plays out for us. But another quick question that came in, will there be ice storms this winter? If so, where? Well, ice storms are very specific and it can be difficult to determine, especially from this far in advance. But we are looking at the potential storm tracks for us leading through the season. So you can see here for Ontario into Quebec, for instance, that active storm track across the Lower Lakes region, that meandering, the cold undercutting, that's what we'll have to watch for. And certainly when we are in La Niñas, ice storms are not as common, but not that it won't occur. And many in Ontario remember the ice storm from the last winter in the Peterborough and the Kawarthas region that was quite debilitating. Meanwhile, in Atlantic Canada, talking about, you know, those storm tracks and the potential for ice storms, again, that is quite a specific storm. We'll have to see exactly how that mixing of the cold and warm air transpires with those storms as they move into the region for the second half of this season. So hopefully everyone will be able to get out and enjoy the season regardless of what Mother Nature throws our way.
We will if you will, Nadine.
I promise.
I know. We all have a very optimistic outlook on this winter. So many people to thank for this live stream. First and foremost, Mitsubishi for sponsoring our winter forecast. We really appreciate it. Helps get our reporters around, our camera people around, keeps us safe all winter long, which we love. Thank you so much to the Toronto Distillery Winter Village. What an incredible spot to do our winter forecast from. I want to thank all of our VJs across the country, our Nathan Coleman in Halifax, Connor O'Donovan in Calgary, Michael Van right here in Toronto, and our video meteorologist, Kevin McKay, who did the National. We had Rhythm Reed, Melinda Singh, as well as Nicole Karkic. thank you so much for everything you do.
Yes.
And thank you.
And behind the scenes as well, our camera operators, David Hodge and Jaden Laffey. We've got our video assignment editor. We've got Leanna McLean and senior producer, and our queen, Charlene Newland, who really does so much putting all of this together. So without everybody that we mentioned, this would not happen. There's so much more to it than Kim and I, to be sure. But
we have the easy job.
We do. So, and the enjoyable one. We get to talk to you every day, so that's a pleasure. So, final thought: are you happy with the winter forecast? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. Bring on the cold, bring on the snow, and thank you to Jordan Caprice, by the way, too, who's pressing all the buttons in the back, making us look good. Thank you so much. I think it's going to be an exciting winter to talk about on the Weather Network, so you have to stay tuned.
All right, sounds good. Words of wisdom, and enjoy the coming season.